Welcome everybody. Hopefully you got a cup of coffee. This is a bit of a different situation that we usually in. Usually you wait half a minute at an event for a cup of coffee and an hour to get in, but hopefully you're all comfortable either at your workplace or at home. My name is Chris and I'm the head of PR and communications at the JABII group, and for the last 5 years I've been working as a startup consultant. I started during my studies at the Copenhagen Business School, and I've worked with startups from the Maldives to Mexico, and today I'm working in the Danish gaming industry. What I'll take you through today is kind of a whole around the whole hybrid game ecosystem that we've been seeing in the last couple of years. But let me kick it off by starting to kind of throw some definitions out there. A lot of people are asking us often, this whole esports thing, how is it different from gaming? And I think that the major comparison or major difference between the two is that gaming is more of a casual thing. It's something that you play either on your phone, you play it at home to relax, and esports is the organized or the organization of gaming. So you have teams, you have communications, you have trainers, you have tournaments, both locally and internationally. So in a way, in the last couple of years, esports has grown into a lot of the things that can be compared to traditional sports, but at a much different pace. Since 2018, there's been a lot of focus on hybrid games as a potential for the Olympics, and esport has been on the paper since 2018 as well. Maybe we're seeing probably not next year in Japan, but in 2024, who knows, in Paris, maybe we'll have esports on the program. There are, however, two big differences between traditional sports and esports, that the IOC and their director Thomas Bach is saying that this is the big deal breaker for the Olympics contra esports. And the first one is the violence of the esport games, because a lot of the games like Counter-Strike, Fortnite, it's very much shooting based, and it doesn't really cope well with the values of the Olympics. At least that's what the IOC believes. And secondly, there's not really a esport federation yet. It's a lot of different privately owned companies who own each their game, which means that it's kind of a conflict of interest between brands and business at the moment. The final aspect is the activity level. A lot of people who are very stern believers that sport is physical only is having a hard time of believing that gaming can actually be part of this Olympic program, because they're like, nope, it has to be active in order to be Olympic. Well, maybe the hybrid games are the ones that can come in and be that missing link in these times and kind of step out to the rescue. I've brought a few of them today, and I'll talk to you about 4 different players in the hybrid game market. Hybrid games is a word that is used very differently. Some people call it active gaming, some people call it exergaming because of the exercise aspect. You have some physical activity, but the most common aspect is that it's some sort of movement, and either you have a sensor or a phone that collects some sort of data on your activity. In recent years, it's become much more easy to join this space, because the cost of technology has decreased. So 3D printing for prototyping is much faster and less expensive than before. And the electronic components are also getting cheaper. And then there's an increasing demand in the market for these products that can keep you well fit at home, especially during the Corona lockdown. And starting out with the Corona lockdown, a company that has performed really, really well during the pandemic, Nintendo, who's making the Nintendo Switch. They released a game in November last year called Ring Fit Adventure, and I got it to the office here to test it, and it's a big rubber band that you have to press together and make some fitness exercises. in order to win this game. So you're running around in front of your TV and you're chasing a bodybuilding dragon. I mean, come on, how can you not love a bodybuilding dragon? And then you're just chasing it around, you're getting a sweat up. But in the end of the day, it's pretty much just you and your TV, and you're still playing inside, mostly alone. And a lot of other games are focusing more on the multiplayer aspect. But Ring Fit Adventure was sold out during the coronavirus. They sold 7 million copies, and the Switch has already sold 62 million copies of the console itself. So the demand is there, and even though the market has been, and the reviews of the Ring Fit Adventure has been kind of rough, saying that it's still a lot of TV time, they are still selling copies like crazy. But if you want to get away from your TV and getting some more time with other people and getting some much needed fresh air, then I'd recommend you to check out a company called Playfinity. They have made an orange sized ball called the Smart Ball. It's a ball that you can attach to an app, and then you can play a variety of miniature games. So here it is connected to the app, and in here there's a game that lets me calculate how fast and how high I can throw this ball. So right now I don't have anyone to play with because I'm stuck inside a meeting room A, for those who know the facilities around here. But it's kind of cool, and I actually threw the ball around quite a long time and trying to just look at these different miniature games. I think it's the whole social part of Playfinity, and it was invented in Norway by 5 Norwegian parents who wanted to make a more active game for their kids, but also something that they could see themselves getting less screen time. And I feel like that's a very important part of the development of these hybrid games. It's not something that's bound to a TV screen or something that you have to stare at all time. The phone kind of takes a secondary place. Someone who's been working more on the whole multiplayer aspect of these games is a Danish company called IR Squad. IR Squad, they're building a competitor for laser tag, but they're combining the game of laser tag with their gun. It's called the Evo Tagger, and the Evo Tagger is quite similar to a normal laser tag gun, but instead of having a lot of receivers and sensors on your body, you actually have them here straight on the gun. So you buy the gun and then you're ready. IR Squad also sends you a sport wristband, which you can mount on your arm while you play. So what you can see is that you have an overlay and map from Google Maps, and you can actually see other players who are playing right now. So you can run to, on here you see the yellow spot, and that's actually the dropped loot from the other ones who have been playing. And then when you shoot, you can see that the gun is actually updating up here with rounds left. I've just turned down the volume so it doesn't compete with the microphone in here. But it's a really cool concept and very fun to see the game mechanics from games like Counter-Strike or Fortnite being implemented into outdoor games. IR Squad are working more on and I see that Carl has found the link, it's down here, to IR Squad. Very cool company, check them out. Also part of the smaller ecosystem of game developers. They are focused on this whole active gaming aspect, and I tried it one-on-one. I would say that it's probably a case of the more the merrier with a lot of these games. Get some people together, and especially for a shooting game compared to paintball, it's advisable to have like at least 3 or 4 people on each team when you're running around and hiding. So the next game that I'll present is called JABII. And JABII is, well, just a spoiler, I'm part of JABII group, but JABII is is a boxing toy, you could say. It's a game where you are actually physically hitting each other. There's a sensor field top out here. You see it activating. It's also been turned off the lights for convenience purposes. But the thing is with the JABII is that you can actually stretch it out, and you're using your own body as the kind of weight behind it, and it extends about a meter. So the thing is with JABII, you also can play with just 2 devices. When you press down the front, you can see it looks for other devices using Bluetooth, and that's when you will take up your app. You connect with your profiles, and then the app will show you all of the replays once the game is over. So just to show you briefly what it looks like when you actually have a match going. It will play. Let me just see here. It will play out like this. So you have health bars in the top of the screen that will update real time. So whoever is filming these matches, they will have the kind of Tekken or Mortal Kombat look of the game. And after a game is over, of course, you'll be able to see all of the minor details. You'll be able to see who had the best hit rate, who had the most hits, but also the hardest punches and the fastest punches. And all of this goes into your personal profile, where you're able to compare with your friends, and you can, of course, share the video recording as well. So that's a bit about JABII. JABII is building a category of their own called full contact gaming. It's JABII is the first product in a range of products within this genre. So there's a lot of things happening, and I think it's only time will tell whether one of these games will be the first to grow so big. And the other thing is that, I mean, the IOC has already opened the door slightly to take up this discussion of implementing gaming and esports into the atmosphere of the whole Olympics. But I think it will still be some years before we see them accepting a Counter-Strike on the same level as gymnastics or Fortnite next to the swimming disciplines. I think that I will open the floor for some questions. Please feel free to post them in the chat, and I'll talk through some of those. I can see that Thomas has put an Inspector Gadget. It's a good old friend. See, Camilla is posting a question. How's JABII going to approach turning a game into a sport? Well, I think that the whole aspect of turning your game or going from product to sport is something that is in the hand of the users in the final in the end. Of course, JABII already has a collaboration with the Danish Gymnastics Federation, DGI, and DFI or DIF, and they are working on it to broaden out the game in various settings. So we're doing tests with the professional Danish boxers who don't want to get hit in their face during or just before they have an important match. We are looking to test with the Danish professional footballers who want to get some of this movement that you get from JABII, the agility, the speed, that they can get without actually hitting each other. I'm wondering if you know any example without gear. Well, there are a few games that require, I would say, less gadgets. Of course, there's Tonser, the game from also a Danish game where you can actually be like it's kind of a game/talent acquisition app where you can upload your stats from the football game that you play in your free time. So I would recommend looking up Tonser as well. Do you think that having an integrated digital component / element will be a requirement for all physical toys in the future? Well, I think that we will see a surge now that we have a kind of a surge in digital elements at the moment, especially because the price is going down. But I think that there will still be room for the analog toys, and even though Lego is going the way of their Nintendo collab, I think it's definitely possible that we will see games that come out that will be purely analog and not connected. But I think that it will be a trend that we will see less screen time, and I would like to see that as well. With a lot of the devices that come out, I would like to see game modes where the devices are able to interact with each other rather than you having to sit with a screen in front of you. There was another question up here, and I see that Lars from ER Squad has joined it as well. I would also recommend, I can see that Jim from Hado had joined the chat as well further up. Hado is I believe, a Singaporean based, at least Southeast Asia based company who's doing an AR dodgeball game. So you put on AR goggles, or at least you put on a smartphone on your face, and and then you get an overlay of a dodgeball game where you'll be able to throw digital dodgeballs at each other and put up a shield using gestures. So that's really just taking the future of tech, Ready Player One kind of vibe, and putting it out there. I'll put some links up. See, arrived a bit late. 1 minute summary. Well, okay, the fastest I can do, I'd say what's is for you, Torbjørn. There's been a lot of clash between esports and sports, but now we're seeing a rise in hybrid sports who are just surging up because of the price of tech and the speed of 3D printing. So prototyping is faster. There's also a demand for it. And then I demonstrated 4 different products. And I think that ultimately it's up to the users to make these hybrid sports or games into sports and create the demand and pressure on the Olympics. Because right now we're seeing 100 million views on the esport tournaments, but it's not close to the 1 billion views that the Olympics are drawing in. If you're interested in if you're interested in hearing more about either of the games that I've brought here, you can head over to the Expo. It's placed over here, the Expo button, and then you can catch me in the JABII corner. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you have any questions or any potential collabs. We're looking forward to spreading out JABII, and I'm wishing a lot of luck to the other players in the field. It's really cool to see how great both the Danish gaming industry, but also other organizations and industries in this field are working together, also internationally. So definitely reach out. I'm gonna close down the window here and hopefully see some of you over in the Expo area. Thank you for listening in.